listening to another RX Radio podcast. My name is Emily. I'm 13 years old and I'm an RX Radio young reporter. I'm so excited to bring you this edition's topic on child hunger and malnutrition. On this podcast, we will have my fellow young reporters and child malnutrition researcher, Dr. Michael Hendricks, who will talk about the state of child hunger in South Africa. I do want to apologize if the sound quality is not too great because I am recording this via WhatsApp voice note. Before we get into it, let me share my views on the topic. So from my understanding, malnutrition means a person's body lacks the nutrients to grow and stay healthy. People suffer from hunger because if they don't get enough food, hunger can lead to malnutrition.
Hello everyone, my name is Talita Counter. I'm 17 years old and I'm a young RX radio reporter. What I understand about hunger is that when people go for days or for a while without getting food or getting the good types of food you need in your body. And malnutrition is when you don't get the necessary nutrients you need to grow up strong and have a good immune system, such as vitamins.
As mentioned before, we have Dr. Michael Hendricks on the podcast. Dr. Hendricks works as the district pediatrician in the western part of the Cape Town metropolitan area. He currently holds a joint position with the Department of Health in the Western Cape and the University of Cape Town. He is also an associate professor in the Department of Pediatrics and Child Health at UCT. He is engaged in the undergraduate and postgraduate teaching. His research interests are maternal and child nutrition during the first 1,000 days.
Hunger generally occurs when one does not eat enough to meet the body's nutritional needs for a long enough period of time. When someone experiences hunger for a long period of time, it can eventually lead to malnutrition. What is malnutrition? Well, it includes three main groups: children with undernutrition, overnutrition, and what is called micronutrient deficiencies, which are deficiencies of vitamins and minerals. And the main ones affecting children in South Africa are deficiencies of vitamin A, zinc, and iron.
Hi, my name is Yusra. I am 13 years old and an RX radio reporter. One of the main causes of malnutrition and child hunger is poverty. Many parents receive a low income, therefore they cannot provide sustainable food for their families. Inappropriate dietary choices is also a contributing factor to malnutrition.
The other reasons for hunger and malnutrition include poor home environments, like lack of safe water, adequate sanitation, like flush toilets, so that children are exposed to infections like diarrhea and pneumonia that can affect their nutritional status and result in them becoming malnourished.
I'm Sonny Daniels, age 15, RX radio reporter. It makes me very sad to hear that children is struggling without food, as in the Constitution for children's rights, it also states that the child got the right to a plate of food. If they don't have a good meal, then they can't think at school. Because how can a child with hungry stomachs focus in class?
So hunger and malnutrition can affect the survival of children. The child who is malnourished is at a higher risk of dying from diseases like diarrhea, pneumonia, HIV, and TB. For example, in 2018 in South Africa, almost half of the children who died in hospitals were malnourished. Malnutrition also, if it occurs during the first 1,000 days, can have permanent effects on the growing brain of the child and can lead to poor development and later on achievement at school and reduced work capacity in adult life.
We are just listening to Dr. Michael Hendricks and some young reporters talk about what child hunger and malnutrition is and what causes it. Let us get back into the program, starting with more recent news. The COVID-19 pandemic. Let's look at how it contributed to child hunger and malnutrition. And then we will end off with some solutions to this issue with our young reporters. Remember, listener, that we are recording from home using WhatsApp, so quality might not be so great and different throughout.
My name is Alex White. I am 17 years old and I'm an RX Radio young reporter. It was quite interesting to hear about the increased child hunger and malnutrition because we've seen all these ways that COVID-19 and the lockdown has affected us. And there are lots of ways that we don't initially see up front, ways that are there, but they're kind of secondary or they're part of the ripple effect.
Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has had an impact on families and children in terms of hunger and food security. And this has come about especially as many caregivers lost jobs, leading to a loss of household income and their ability to purchase food during the pandemic. Besides hunger and malnutrition, the COVID-19 pandemic has also taken its toll on the mental health of family members who experienced hunger, leading to higher rates of depression.
I think it's pretty cool, even though we were dealing with COVID-19 last year and still we're dealing with it this year, there were people that were committed to bringing other issues around light. For example, the issue of hunger and malnutrition. And it is also pretty awesome that the 2020 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the World Food Program because it just shows that the World Food Program is being recognized for the good things they do and for trying to help other poor communities in helping supply food for the poor and also keeping people nourished and well fed. And even though with the COVID-19, the World Food Program was not stopped because of the pandemic in doing the good things that they do.
The World Food Program is one of the largest humanitarian organizations that assists 100 million people all over the world. It relieves hunger through food assistance and cash transfers during emergencies like climate change shocks, pandemics, and in conflict situations like wars. But it also works with communities to improve their nutrition by ensuring that they are more resilient to future stressful situations. For example, in communities, it looks at building water resources, increasing crop production, connecting smallholder farmers to markets, and also building natural resources like forests. It also assists governments with policies, plans, and programs that promote food security. And in terms of child malnutrition, it focuses on the first 1,000 days, as well as providing meals to school children. It also helps us to realize that hunger does not only impact on people's physical health, but that it also affects their mental health.
These are some ways in which our communities can help with malnutrition and child hunger. Communities can educate parents and children about the right nutritional foods to consume.
I think that providing more nutritional food to more children would be to zero-rate tax on further food products that are nutritional and can have these benefits. So many children do not receive a balanced diet of food every day, and I think this is the most crucial part of nutrition. So subsidizing healthy food is also an option there.
In my community, there's lots of children that goes without food to school, but fortunately, there's a lot of feeding schemes who give the children food every day.
We have reached the end of our podcast. Thank you to our young reporters and Dr. Michael Hendricks. And most importantly, thank you to you, listener, for joining this podcast on child hunger and malnutrition. Bye.
You're listening to RX Radio.
For and by children.
RX Radio. RX Radio rocks.